Oh, wait, do I want to go this way? More like a Space Scorpion Evo? Kind of. It's like a Space Origin 12 rifle.
Oh, look, another
Submachine gun
subscriber.
Rifle thing. Thank you very much for resubscribing, Tiberium Cat, on your 17th month of subscription. I really appreciate it, man. Space Galil Ace. No. It's a space hodgepodge of weapons. Maelstrom is chambered in like 6.5 or something. That is true, it is. It's chambered in like a 6.5 telescope cartridge. There is something out there, it's me. It's me that's out there. Why are some of the magazines curved? Because despite the fact that the reason some of the magazines are curved is because despite the fact that most projectiles look like the sides of the casing are parallel, they are actually not. They're actually tapered. Hang on. Can I show you guys what I'm talking about? It's most relevant with 7.62 by 39. So, here, open image in new tab. There we go. Lovely display capture, game capture. So, it's very obvious with 7.62 by 39, but you can see how these sides are not actually parallel to each other. They're actually tapered inwards. And there is a practical reason for doing that beyond it's fun. The practical reason for having these sides of a shell casing tapered are it makes it a lot easier to remove the fired casing from the chamber when it's tapered like that. If the sides are completely parallel with each other, you are fighting against the friction of the shell casing rubbing against the chamber the entire time you're pulling it out. It's actually one of the reasons that like 22 long rifle is kind of difficult to pull out of chambers sometimes, because the sides are completely parallel. But when you get to bigger cartridges like this, you want to have the sides tapered, because then the moment that you get the cartridge even a little bit out of the chamber, the tapering means that there's no longer any friction of the sides touching the sides of the chamber. So having the sides tapered makes it a lot easier to remove a shell casing from a chamber. The effect of that is that when you stack a bunch of 7.62 by 39 rounds on top of each other, they're not going to go... Where's paint? Yeah, okay. So I'm getting off on a whole fucking tangent here. When you have... That's a fucking terrible straight line. Good lord. That's also a terrible straight line. Where's the line tool? Good lord. All right. "2D shapes. Great. So you have a straight line. And when you have the straight line of another shell casing right next to it, the friction of these two is going to stop you. The friction of this the friction of this side rubbing against this side is going to make it really difficult to remove a shell casing from it. Now, however, if you do, if your chamber is like this and like this is heavily exaggerated, but hopefully you understand. And then the bullet, obviously I'm going to be leaving a space in here for... In real life, this space would not be in here. Okay. And then you've got like the little rim of your cartridge. Like this. Great. And then we'll just pretend that this is where the tip of the bullet is, because why not? Great. I know those are terrible, terrible drawings, but whatever. So this is the blue stuff is the chamber of the gun, and then this is your shell casing. When you grab this shell casing and pull it backwards out of the gun, the moment it moves back even just a little bit, you'll notice that there is now a large gap in between these sides of it. So it becomes a lot easier to pull the shell casing out of the chamber when the sides are tapered. The side effect of that is when you have a bunch of tapered shell casings like this, and I'm heavily exaggerating it, and you stack them on top of each other, you end up making a curve. So that's why a lot of magazines are curved. I'm sorry I went off on such a large tangent about this, but most magazines are curved because most bullets are actually, or most shell casings are actually tapered like this. And again, that's a heavy, heavy exaggeration. 7.62 by 51 isn't tapered. No, 7.62 by 51 is actually tapered. One of the things that's interesting is when you have a magazine capacity that generally is less than 20, you really don't need to taper the magazine. Even though the bullets are like this, even though 7.62, because 7.62 by 51 is still tapered, and you can kind of see it in this image. You can see how the sides aren't exactly parallel. It is still tapered. But because it's not such a super steep, because it's not a super steep tapered, or because it's not a super steep taper, they'll still fit in here relatively straight up and down. When you start getting like 30 round 7.62 magazines, if you actually look at the bullets inside a like 7.62 by 51 millimeter magazine, if you actually look at the bullets inside the magazine, there actually ends up being a gap in between the front of the bullets in there. God, that's a fucking terrible drawing. Good lord. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's why like 20 round AR mags are relatively straight, or 20 round AR magazines are straight. 20 round 7.62 by 51 mags are generally straight. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So that was a long and drawn out way of me explaining why magazines are generally curved. Because most bullets are actually tapered, not completely straight. 25 round 308 mags you have are curved a bit. Yeah, and it depends. It depends entirely on magazines, and not all bullets are tapered like that. It's just a lot of them are. Yes, actually 5.7 by 28 millimeter is not tapered. 5.7 by 28 millimeter is completely straight. And interestingly, let me open Paint back up. So 5.7 by 28 millimeter is actually completely straight, like this. Every single one of the bullets is... Every single one of the shell casings of 5.7 by 28 is just like this. It's the sides are both parallel. And interestingly, because of that, in order to make it more easy to remove the cartridge from the chamber, they're all coated in like a polymer. All the shell casings are coated in polymer, which when it heats up, makes it a little bit lubricated and makes it just slightly easier to remove from the chamber. Because like I was saying, if you have two completely flat sides or two completely flat surfaces and you try to drag one flat surface across the other one, friction is going to make that difficult to do. So they had to lubricate the shell casings with plastic, or with polymer. I'm sorry. And that's also why the P90 magazine is completely straight. When you look at the magazine for a P90, it's just a big old rectangle like this, and all the bullets inside it are individual rectangles like that. It's really interesting. You wonder if the 6.5 round is caseless? No, actually, here you go. The 6.5 round in Starfield is actually more like this. It's called a Cased Telescoped ammo, and you can see it in this image. I shouldn't have clicked on it. Now I'm gonna get a virus on my computer. You can see it in this image right here that's behind chat. So in Starfield, the 6.5 and I think one of the other cartridges are actually what are called Cased Telescoped ammo. You can see it in this one. The bullet itself is actually further down inside it. It's kind of a neat thing. It means that you can, again, have completely straight magazines. It means that your shell casings can be made out of polymer, which is really cool. And the U.S. or not the Army, was it the Marines? The Marines were actually really close, like really close to adopting this cartridge for a light machine gun. They were very close to adopting it. I believe it was the LSAT SMG. No, not SMG. What am I doing? Yeah, they were very close to adopting this. Like this style of machine gun with cased telescoped ammo that was all like polymer coated. One of the, Nicole, one of the NGSW prototypes used cased telescopic ammo. It's a really interesting thing. That's what some of it looked like. It's really cool. It's just like it needed more development. It just didn't get all of the development it needed. Otherwise, I think it would have, it actually would have done a lot better. Anyway. Now that I just went on a God only knows how long rant about different guns. But yeah, the 6.5, you can't actually really look at the ammo for this gun in the game, but the 6.5 ammo is like a cased telescoped ammo. I think it might even say that's what it is. Where is it? Yep, 6.5 CT. 6.5 cased telescoped ammo. Isn't that neat? Like, the people they had working on the guns in this game, I don't want to say it's perfect. Because it isn't. It's not perfect. But the people they had working on the guns in this game actually did a lot of really cool stuff. Like, they actually did research, which I think is really neat. They did at least a lot more than they did in Fallout 4. Isn't one of the issues with caseless ammo the heat? Yes, but that's one of the advantages of using a 6.5 cased telescoped, because that's still cased ammo. It's just a little bit more, convenient to transport and move around. This is caseless, the 7.7 millimeter. All right, let's go down here. They probably saw my gun rants and were like, we better get this right so Gun Rants guy doesn't come after us. Maybe.